Welcome to the Partytrick podcast, where we inspire and empower you to elevate every day.
Hey, Emily, I'm so excited that you are here today on the Partytrick podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to chat.
Yeah. Well, for those of you tuning in, Emily and I were connected through another founder friend, and I loved hearing some about her story. And now we're doing some fun things together. And I wanted to just share how amazing she is and share her story with all of you guys. So, I'm like, kick off. Give me your personal background and then professional background and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a crazy story. So you might want to buckle up. It's definitely not conventional at all. But my degree is in psychology and was in the process of wrapping up my undergraduate degree with every intention of going on to graduate school because you really can't do anything with just a psych degree without
I majored in psychology as well. I get it.
you understand that. Yeah.
Totally.
Fast track onto a lot more education for sure. And was applying to grad school, going through the whole process, but simultaneously was planning my wedding. And super long story short, they filled the cohort of the graduate program that I really wanted to be a part of really quickly. It didn't even touch my application. So they said, hey, we'll sit tight on this, we'll review it, and then get back to you to see if you would be in for the next round of the next semester, whatever that looks like. So I found myself planning this wedding, not really knowing what to do, having about probably 6 months off and not really enough time to go and get like a real job. What's the deal?
Totally.
So I was spending a lot of time on Pinterest, as one does. And
Especially when planning your wedding. That
yes,
is like prime Pinterest time.
absolutely. And happened upon wedding favor ideas. And for whatever reason, that was the most difficult part of planning my entire wedding. I don't know why, but they all seemed really expensive and just kind of trinkets, right? This was 2016. So it's been years since then. And it was a lot of like matchbooks or magnets. I didn't really think anybody needed a magnet with Drew and I's face on it.
That would be amazing. Those would go far.
Maybe we think now if you want one.
Totally. Yeah.
And so this was right on the cusp of kind of the big boom of Instagram and also just these desserts getting a really beautiful Instagrammable makeover. So think cake pops, donut walls, sugar cookies that are just almost too beautiful to eat.
Yeah.
And the edible route seemed like a way to go because it's not really a waste of money. People aren't really probably going to throw that away. People will eat it, whatever. And I kept seeing cotton candy. And it dawned on me that that was really the one dessert that no one was touching. It was just this pink or blue color, no real flavor even associated with it at all. And this truly scary packaging that looked like a clown on the front.
Yeah.
And when's the last time, like as an adult, you've had cotton candy? Probably not in years, I would assume.
Well, I've had recently because I've had yours and my kids are obsessed with it. But truly, it's those things that spark joy from your childhood. Like adults don't have it. We don't go after it the same way we might others. So I love
Right.
that. It's a great way to bring back some nostalgia.
100%. And it was just the idea that I couldn't let go of like, why is cotton candy being left behind? Why is nobody doing anything with this? And so the original concept of the brand was to do events and to do cart service. So that is what my background is in. I launched the business literally on the drive home from my honeymoon. I looked at Drew and was like, hey, I know we just got married and I know you're still in college because he's younger than I am. We got married so young. But what do you think about this? And he full on was like, you need to do this. This is a great idea, which is not the answer I would have had if it would have been the reverse. So props to him for for encouraging this. And so yeah, bought a cotton candy machine with the money from our wedding and taught myself how to spin via YouTube, lots of practice. And I did events all the way up until COVID when obviously that was no longer an option.
Completely.
And yeah, kind of led me to where I am now. The business is very much the same, but also very much different. It's a consumer packaged good brand now. We've packaged our cotton candy. We ship it all over the world, in large part help to our TikTok following. And we are really known for our cotton candy glitter bomb. So essentially, it's this fluff of champagne flavored cotton candy. You drop it into anything clear and bubbly, cotton candy dissolves, and a beautiful edible glitter floats out.
And like you said, it's so Instagrammable, it's so Pinterest worthy. As I mean, you have an insanely amazing TikTok account and following and presence, which is so inspiring to me in particular. I know we've talked about that in the past, but having a product that like yours, I mean, it's absolutely perfect for this. It truly is, which is a great way to get so many eyeballs. You haven't remind me today, how has your business grown? Like, how has it really been TikTok that has been where like people have found you?
It's really been TikTok. So if you kind of backtrack to early 2020, I was the busiest I'd ever been before COVID was a word, but it hadn't hit the US yet and people weren't really worried about it. This is like January, February. I was doing anywhere between 7 to 15 events a week with the cotton candy cart, and then that completely shut down, obviously, when the world shut down in early March. And then I got really bored because there's only so many linen closets you can clean out in a short
Totally.
amount of time. And so started posting on TikTok, and our following grew pretty rapidly. From there, we hit 1 million followers, I would say by October of 2020.
So
And
impressive.
and it was a different time and it was wild and everybody was at home and on their phones and all these things, but it ended up being super interesting from a growing a business standpoint because I had this audience and this demand for a product that I didn't have yet. I didn't have the capabilities to ship it. I was still very much in the early process of figuring out packaging, and I had sworn up and down for the previous 4 years that I would never go into packaging. I never packaged cotton candy. And then here I was being like, just kidding. We're gonna figure this out and make this happen. So definitely it was all TikTok that really blew up the brand and allowed me to be able to build it into what it is today.
What are you finding now is working just like from a network effect with growth levers now outside of like new people coming in? Like, how are you leveraging the clients that you do have? Where are you finding that they like, why do they order most from you? Is it for events? Is it for every day? Is it people who drink, not drink? Like, who's your consumer?
That's actually what is super interesting about Art Sucre as a whole is that our demographic really fits so many different categories that it can honestly be a little overwhelming on our end to strategize because I
Completely.
think the natural inclination is to think us, right? We're the target demographic, millennial women that like to have wine and champagne and have girls' night outs and for bachelor parties and for weddings and for birthday parties and things like that, which is 100% true. But children also love it. One of our biggest clients is the American Girl Cafes, and I actually just had a
Oh, I
call.
just saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that.
it's
Totally.
it's crazy. The kids love it. We just had a call with them yesterday, and we've done over 200% of what their team forecasted,
Oh
and
my
that's for
goodness.
little girls. So it can be put in Sprite, it can be put in a mocktail, a cocktail. It's for events. It's just everyday joy. It's a great gifting thing, which is interesting for a food and beverage brand because normally that's not necessarily the category. It can be, but not the number one category that it
Yeah.
falls into. So we are very lucky from the standpoint that it really does fit across a variation of sales channels.
Yeah, definitely. How do you structure your team now? Like, how has your team grown? Obviously, since you started with the cart and then moved into this, like, how big is your team? What is the structure like right now?
So it was just me at the very, very beginning. I had a small team of like friends that would help me on the weekends occasionally to like spin at events when I had overlap, things like that. For the first launch of our product, I spun almost every single piece of that cotton candy by myself, and it was thousands of pouches that we sold out in 20 minutes. It was wild. Now it looks very different. I'm no longer in the cotton candy studio. I still very much have a heavy hand on I'm a part of every single recipe testing and flavor curation process and building all of the collections, but I have an incredible support team. So there's 4 of us that are full time right now. It's myself, Emma, who I know that you've interacted with,
Hmm.
and Ash, she's my brand director, and she's my go getter. She's the one that is really growing the brand, getting the collaborations that you see us have with people like Kate Spade and Capital One and American Girl, things like that. And then my head of operations name is Livy. She is all the magic that comes to shipping, receiving, getting things done at the Cotton Candy Studio. And then Jenny is my production lead. And then beyond that, we have another 15 to 20 employees that are our actual hands that are spinning the cotton candy, depending on the time of the year.
That's amazing. How many, I'm going to say bags or the glitter bombs and stuff, how many go out a year? Do you know, like off the top of your head? I'm not a numbers person that way where I remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure you do.
I'm not either actually a numbers person, but I do know that last year it's like hundreds of thousands that leave the
Amazing.
building a year, and we do it all by hand, which is wild too.
That's so amazing and so impressive. And like the love and also just the joy that brings. Like, why? What do you find most exciting? And what sparks the light for you about what you're doing professionally with this?
I think because it is genuinely so unique and we are really kind of the first to market with anything in this way with the cotton candy especially that we're really paving the path. So any type of new innovation that you see or people if people are following it whatever, it's really coming from us, which is super exciting and that's invigorating to me. The building blocks of it all is something that I really love. It's also scary because that means that we're the ones paving the way and have to pay for the mistakes and all of those things too. But for the most part, that's what really lights me up about the brand is that we're the first to do it and to be excited to be innovative in the space and not scared that it is different than what's out there right now.
Yeah. So, as like I've shared a lot about Partytrick with you, we're here to empower and inspire people to host these aspirational and really attainable gatherings. Again, from a Taco Tuesday to a brunch or some fun like girls' night in, girls' night out, either way. Do you like to host?
So this is something that's so funny. I love the idea of hosting. Execution is not my strong suit. And I think it's because I spend so much of my time and creative energy here at this desk in this space pouring it out that when it comes to my personal life, especially the phase I'm at right now, I'm not great in ways that I'm so wish that I was, which is why I absolutely adore your brand because you do make it attainable for someone like me that just doesn't have the time to sit for hours to make the shopping list, make the playlist. Like I would love to be that girl. I'm just not that girl. And I know that about myself, no matter how disappointing it is.
Well, I think we all want to be that girl. And I look and I relate to this so much because I'm at that phase where I'm building this and I'm so busy building it that I don't actually get to use it as
Yeah.
much as I want. I get forced into it. And I'm going to use that word selectively forced because I have kids that I have to do stuff with. So I have the kids' parties and I have after school and now soccer just started up again. So it's all of those like mommy events that you like have to do because there's that external pressure. But I mean, as someone once asked me, like my favorite, party, and I'm like, party for one in the bathtub. Yes. Don't bother me. And I always find it so interesting asking different people, like, do you enjoy it? Do you not? Like, what are your most stressful points? Because I think we all have them. Like, for some people, they get to what it looks like. And you are such a creative person that, like, you're ideating and you can come up with something pretty, but not like spend hours on Pinterest, but just based on your product alone. You need one thing at a party that looks good. That's really, everyone's, oh, everything is perfect. It doesn't. Put one thing and then be a relaxed, stress free hostess. But what I'd say there is everyone has a different objection. It's the time, it's the stress, it's the money, it's the cleaning. And so I think it's hard sometimes to know how for us when we're going out there, we want to spark the light just the way that you are. And finding people's key objections, we can all relate to each other's. And when you're forced, if you have children, I don't know if that's part of your journey, like you'll be forced into it in another way and it'll cause you to flex those muscles. I think something that's kind of fun as well is right now what you're doing is you're sparking delight, enjoying the everyday. And when when the box that you shipped me came, I opened it up. My kids were home and they're like, "Oh my God, what is this?" Every single day they now want to open. And this was a while ago. I'm like parsing it out very carefully because I want to, I selfishly I need some of it, but we're about celebrating the everyday here. And I think you are too. And I think it's so important. Do you find, again, my kids force me to celebrate the everyday because I want to make magic for them. Do you do anything for yourself where it's about celebrating the everyday? Do you take a moment? Or what's your self care or celebration every day?
I feel like this is something that I had completely abandoned in 2020 and 2021. I don't have children yet, and I can't even imagine adding that whole other layer of your life into the mix. But growing a brand is no joke from a physical, mental, just all of it. It's a whole body experience. That's no joke.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I absolutely was not taking care of myself this past 2 years. However, this year I have 100% made that a priority because I had to. I was going to not be able to grow the brand in the way that I know it's capable of what it's growing into. And so I've taken really big steps towards scheduling yoga classes at least 3 to 5 times a week just to have that physical release as well as mental too, which has been really great. I read a lot. That's kind of my go-to hobby and not like in the boring, like educational way. Like I love a good thriller, a good romance novel. So that those two things are my non-negotiables. Like I will not give up my reading time and I will not give up my yoga classes. And that is what has kept me balanced in a way that even like my team has commented that I'm just different this year. I'm more present this year. I'm able to give more because I'm feeding into myself, which is the first thing that we often let go of, ironically, and it really should be the last.
Yeah, it's putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. I think as entrepreneurs, that's really hard to do.
It
The
is.
most important thing to do because you can only lead if you're strong, right?
Yeah.
What does your husband think of everything? How does he support the business? How does he not support the business? Do you keep your professional life separate from your personal life or do you guys talk about your work much?
Oh, yeah, it's bad. Yeah. This is actually, it's really funny. Drew and I have been together. I'm 30 and he's 28. We've been together for 13 years. So for a
Mhm.
very, very long time. And he has been my number one fan from day one with the business, which
That's
he gets
amazing.
all the credit for in the world. And I knew that with him in my corner, it didn't really matter what anybody else said. Like it just having his support was the one thing that I needed. And he did that in spades without me really having to ask for it. It came naturally to him. But we work in the same building, which just
Oh my
happens
goodness.
to be a
Yeah.
coincidence. So his office is actually directly 2 floors above my office. Exactly. We have the same corner office and everything like that. So he does not work for Art of Sucre
Yeah.
directly, but he works in the finance world. And so absolutely we talk business probably too much, to be honest with you. And it's a good thing though. He understands. He works really long hours too. It's never been a point of tension in our relationship, which is all of the credit to him because it's no joke being married to an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think the partners of business owners and founders get enough credit because it really is a unique position to hold. And he has navigated that in a way, to be frank, I'm not sure I would have been able to navigate. And so he helped me strategize. He's very good at, being as hands-on and hands-off as I want him to be. He learned how to spin cotton candy when we went viral on TikTok and was in the studio with me. So he was putting in his daily job and then coming in on the weekends and nights and putting on his gloves and spinning cotton candy. So I am so privileged and very lucky to have a partner that gets it because I can understand if you didn't, it would be hard. It'd be very challenging.
Indeed. I think it's important. My brother and my sister-in-law worked together and they started a business. He was a professional athlete. Then when he retired from that, they opened a store and they opened it. They ran it for about 10 years. And I so admire their ability to work together. And that's different, obviously, than your situation. You guys have separate careers, but he supports you, you support him in that understanding what each other does. But when you don't have a partner that supports what you're doing, whether you're day to day with them, or whether they're not, it takes a big toll. But with that said, I think one of the things I talked to my brother about and took away as a little pearl of wisdom is it's so important to also not make it all about work or not make it all
Yes.
about the kids and make it about yourselves and take those moments, have those date nights where you're celebrating the relationship and celebrating each other and not just doing life side by side. And I hope you guys do that some and take some time for that. I'm sure you probably do.
We try for sure. It has gotten better in the past 2 years as early stages. There's not really anything else you're thinking about
Totally.
at that point, but yeah, we definitely do try to do that.
Yeah, I think about that with any relationship now. Like you have to have there are 3 different relationships or 4 different within that relationship and not my version, his version, the version that actually goes on, but the little worlds and how they intersect with one another. So I think as I've talked to so many entrepreneurial women and men and navigate, I love relationships. Like, Emily, you know this, like prior to starting this, I was in the business of weddings. So I have been around couples and celebrating these large milestone events and seeing the dynamics of couples for so long. I think the psychology side of that is one of those things that I love navigating and asking people what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and how can you make this better in terms of the relationship? Because that impacts your professional life so, so much.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
mean, again, it's way back to putting that oxygen mask on if your personal life is doing well. professional life that's better. And the relationship impacts that and in great ways. Wasn't expecting that to take that turn there, but it just did. So whether, who knows? What is next for you? What's coming up soon? I saw a fun new partnership with CDBD brand. What are you looking forward to like this summer, professionally first and then personally?
We have so many incredible collaborations that are kicking off really starting in May through the rest of the year that we're really excited about. And it's hard because we can't talk about a lot of them.
I
I mean,
know.
I'm sure as you know until they launch. But one of the things that I was really kind of had like this light bulb moment that popped off in my head last year was we are such a giftable brand that we need to now make giftable products. What I mean by that is that we leaned so heavily into holiday. And I think that that happened naturally because we did a drop based business model. We
Yeah,
would drop thousands of packages of cotton candy. It would sell out. Then we'd respin and do it all over again, which leans into the time of the year more so than if you're getting married. So
totally.
we are releasing collections that have to do more with life events this year instead of Halloween, which we're still doing that, obviously, but just kind of adding to it. We're updating a lot of packaging. There's a lot of really fun things that we're doing, and we're growing our wholesale side, which is something I'm really excited about. I'm really scared about. It's not a space that I know super well. But there's a ton of potential there, even not just traditional wholesale of being in Target, but partnering with restaurants and bars and hospitality groups and things like that. It's a really cool activation. It's a little bit different than what we've done in the past.
Totally exciting stuff. What about personally? What do you have going on this summer that you're looking forward to?
We are traveling so much we have so many weddings this year. We're literally
Hmm.
leaving for Denver next week, which is super exciting for a
Fun.
wedding. Yeah, and then we are all over in Boston and Nantucket and I think we may be going to the Bahamas for Drew's a business trip for Drew. So a lot of travel. And then I'm going to be trying, we'll see if I'm successful, to do at least half day Fridays where I can go sit in the sun a
Oh my
little bit
goodness.
and
Yes.
just be outside a little bit more. Even if I'm working, that's fine. But just to have a little bit of space in the summer months to really enjoy the good weather.
Yeah. What do you love? So you've all these weddings coming up. Everyone has a different answer on this one as well. What's your favorite part about going to a wedding? What's your favorite moment at the wedding? The dancing?
Oh, the dancing. If I'm like personally, the favorite moment is absolutely the dancing. Drew is absolutely known as Mr. Wedding. The man is, I don't know, unhinged on the dance floor in the best way possible. So that's always super fun. But it's from someone that used to work a lot of weddings and things like that. Just being able to witness somebody's really, really important day and to watch them interact with people that they are closest with in their life is a really magical experience, especially if you take a step back and witness it kind of from the outside looking in. It's really cool to watch people interact and to be in love and to just celebrate one another. And there's not really a lot of other life events that you get to witness that many people doing that in that large of a group.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's the one time I used to tell people when they were standing at the aisle, turn around to reverse ass back out. I'm like, stop, look around. This is the one time that you have every single person there. It's
Yep.
so hard. You're never going to get this group of people together again. And that's the moment that you have to pause and see it. And everyone's there with the shared intent of celebrating this milestone, which is really cool and really amazing. Mm. Do you have any hosting plans this summer? What are your favorite parties? Do you have a party trick that's your go-to? Do you bring your product? If you were to go to someone's house for a house party, whether it's book club, girls' night in, a brunch, what's your kind of whether something you bring or that you saw someone do that was a really cool hack? Tell me, give me a party trick in some way.
Definitely 110% always have glitter bombs with me. We call them purse glitter bombs. And we bring the bottle of bubbly and the glitter bomb. That is my party trick through and through, which I feel like is a little bit of a cop out because I have very easy access to it. But one of my favorite things, and I have an excellent group of friends that are just the most incredible humans and go-getters. And my one friend always plans the most unique and interesting parties for us. We had a butter making party the other Friday night. Like
Wait, really?
we churned butter. And and then flavored it, that's not the right word.
Well, I don't know what it is, but yeah, that my mom did like a butterboard party with different flavored or different types of butter. Yeah,
We did like the precursor to that. We made the
made the
butter.
first part.
No,
I know that.
and when I tell you, like, not only was it the most fun we've had, it was also an excellent arm workout because we were just churning butter. But Something that's really unique, that's simple, and it was honestly super inexpensive too. It was so fun. I've never heard of anybody else doing this.
That's
That is
amazing.
my new goal is to beat the butter party because that's that so far has been the icing on top of
How long does that take? Is that a long process? Like,
it's a long process. It took about an hour and 10 minutes, but it was it was a ridiculous amount of butter to be clear. So I don't think it would have to take that long. It was a lot of butter.
that's crazy. Oh my god, I had never thought about that. Like, when my mom, because you know how they do, it's every single random build your own board in various
Yeah.
ways right now, and then all the butter it was so funny. So my mom's in her late 60s. She's like, "Oh, darling, I just learned about this great thing. It's called a butterboard party." I'm like, "Oh, cool, mom." And she's not on social media. And she sent me all the photos because she thought I could use them in some way, which again, very sweet.
Oh, I love that.
But to hear how it resonated, again, going back to where we started in a way, we always have this target audience or who you think is going to use. And then like your product and for you, for me itself, like, I think about the college kids that can even use Partytrick. I don't think that like it's not our target demo, but it's so appropriate. Like my target's a little bit later. But then even like my mom's group of friends learning about these cool, fun tricks and hacks along the way. And it's so cool when you hear, oh, this is something that really resonated. I love hearing like, okay, your most memorable moment was like it's something unique, it's something out of the box. I like
Yeah.
never made butter. Maybe I will now.
And I think kind of to your point about your target demographic, it's one thing that I really talk to my team about a lot because there's in recent years in business, there's been this huge push to kind of name your customer, right? Give them a personality, give them a name. Where do they shop? What do they look like? What are they doing? And I think in some aspects that can be helpful, but I also think it's incredibly limiting and there are so many different people in different walks of life at different ages that can use our products, use, Party Trick, use
Yeah.
our platform that you can absolutely back yourself in a corner and kind of limit the growth of your business if you don't think outside of that box for sure.
I have the exact same mindset. Everyone's you need to go narrower and like perfect just kids or perfect. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Also, like we want to be there for a lifetime at the client. I'm sure as you do as well. Not a
Right.
3-year span, not the like
Yes.
average net. There's so
Exactly.
many reasons to celebrate and reasons to kind of keep that joy around. Okay, what other memorable parties? Now I'm like really curious. What else has she thrown? Or like when you look back, what were the other most memorable parties that you've gone to?
Well, I have done a lot of crazy things like through cart service with the cotton candy. And
Mhm.
there are two that are truly insane. One was a dog birthday party. And
Okay.
we spun cotton candy at it. The dog's name was Taco Bell. She wore a tutu. It was quite the vibe. When I tell you there were like 75 people at this dog's birthday party, it
Oh my
was
God.
honestly so much fun. Like we stayed and ate tacos and things afterwards. Well,
Yeah, how many adults and how many other dogs were at this dog party? I'm very curious now.
it was almost all adults, and I would say probably 15 or 20 other dogs.
Okay.
Wild. A dream come true, honestly. And then my go-to answer for this is that we once did a bat mitzvah, which we used to do like a ton of bar bat mitzvahs. But what made this so wild is that the father came to me and had this idea of creating mannequin heads where cotton candy was the hair.
Okay.
It asked if I could execute this, and I said, I don't know how to do this, but if you give me enough time, I will figure it out for you. And so we worked together for 6 months to create these mannequin heads with cotton candy. Think like Marie Antoinette kind of
Totally.
vibe.
Totally.
I made flowers out of
I'm
cotton candy.
thinking bullet buds. That's what's popping in my mind. But
That a little bit. Some people say Marge Simpson. I don't know, wherever you go with it. And we did 12 cotton candy mannequin heads at this bat mitzvah and literally carried them out on silver platters. And the kids ate the cotton candy off of the mannequin heads in like 12 seconds. It took us 4 hours to create these on site and it was gone in seconds. But it was one of the coolest, most insane experiences I've ever had.
that's crazy. That's so funny. So my daughter this morning was like, "Mom, what was that movie that you made me watch?" And I'm like, first of all, I don't make you watch movies. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But she's like, the one where they had like red hair and the mean parents. I'm like, are you talking about like Olympus and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Or like where are we going? Ultimately, that's why I popped into Olympus because the funny things that you get out of their brains that come and they're like impactful. It's best way if you're like ever lacking your creativity, go and spend time with like a 5 or 6 year old and see what comes out. Because we watched Mary Poppins last night as well. And I don't know the last time you watched the original Mary Poppins,
Mm.
like probably not in years, right?
Years. Yeah.
It is so good. And
Right.
there are so many amazing lessons. Like when Mary Poppins arrives at the house and she basically is unpacking her bag and she like looks at me and is like, whatever you do, don't judge a book or not don't judge a book by the cover, but things are as they appear. And there are these little hidden messages that go on. And then you go, and actually, you'll probably love this. But if you listen to and where the spoonful of sugar helps medicine go down song comes, it's all because she's trying to get them to clean their room. And she's talking about how tasks, everyday tasks, are like kind of annoying and tedious. And it immediately jumped to my team, and I'm like, yeah, no one really wants to clean their room. But you put a little sugar on it and make it a little bit as happy and joy, and the medicine, like what you don't want, goes down much faster and the job gets done.
Yep.
And I would just say it's so funny to go back and revisit these things from our childhood and think about how they apply now. Even like the kids, like what my children are doing with their playlists. I'll sometimes drop them because if my team's having a rough day, I'll drop something in Slack and be like, okay, like just turn this on. I guarantee you it's going to make you happy in one way or another. And I think we, again, I now have said this probably 7 times. We all need a bit more joy and spark and delight and going back to those moments. And whether it's your children, nieces, nephews, people that you're around, or revisiting moments of childhood. What I love about Art of Sucre, like it brings the child back. And the lessons all throughout life are like, it can go on and on forever.
And I think for us, like my thing is it's genuinely the small things. Like you don't have to give someone a car to bring them joy, right? It can be done in a fluff of cotton candy. It can be done in a playlist that costs you nothing or a fun song. Or we're in Ohio and the weather here is dicey at best most of the time. And it's been beautiful the past couple of days. And so my team and I have literally moved our HQ furniture out into a parking spot in the parking lot. And I've been working outside, like with our laptops. And it's the smallest thing, but the amount of joy that has brought us of just a little bit of sun. It costs no money to do that. Literally just moving a table in and out of the door. It's really all about the small things. And oftentimes it's the small things that are the most memorable too. And it's something that it's attainable. We can do it every day type of thing. It doesn't have to be for just like one big special moment.
Totally. I think that's, those big special moments, those weddings, those bar mitzvahs, they're amazing. But using something, creating that magic every single day, that creates the memories, that creates connections. So yeah, I love it. Amazing. So do you have any fun plans this weekend? We're recording on a Friday. Thursday. Oh my God, what is today? Today's Thursday. I had to figure this. Like, do you plan? Yeah. What moment are you looking forward to this weekend, if anything, outside of work?
My mom and I are going to get our nails done on Saturday, which is our kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Our ritual that we do together. My mom and I are very close, and it's like the one time every 2 weeks that we get to spend an uninterrupted 2 hours together getting our nails done. And I have that this Saturday, which I am very much looking forward to. But other than that, it's a pretty chill weekend, which is nice because this kind of kicks off the rest of the crazy traveling that we have coming up.
Well, hopefully you get some good downtime. And I love that what you're looking forward to is shared time, right? It's a shared experience. I think that's what it truly is all about. So, Emily, anything else that might be helpful for people to learn here? Where can they find you? I mean, I think everyone has found you on TikTok at this point, but tell us a little bit more about where people can find you and where they can order from Art of Sucre as well.
Yeah, so we kept it super easy with Art of Sucre. Everything is just at Art of Sucre on Instagram. It's the website, artofsucre.com, Sucre. You can find us all there to follow along. And then I have a podcast with my right hand, Emma, that I mentioned earlier. It's called Let Them Eat. And honestly, it's just us kind of going back and forth and talking about what it's like to be in the midst of growing a business, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. And then you can just find me personally at Emily Harpel on Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing, Emily. Well, thank you so much again